Hello, this is Deirdre from DeirdreMaguire.com, and I would like to welcome you today to DMTV, the place to be to take charge of your emotions and transform your world. I am very excited today to be speaking to a good friend of mine, Mark Toner, entrepreneur and owner of CrossFit Infected in Castlewellan in County Down. Hi Mark, how are you today?
Good.
You good?
Yep.
Are you ready to answer some of these questions?
Go for it.
Okay, so let's ask you the first one. What has been the biggest challenge in your life, Mark?
The biggest challenge in my life is overcoming personal limitations that I've set on myself, trying to live up to sort of expectations that I've always put on myself, and every day having to try and face up to this sort of crazy pressure that you're putting on yourself to be successful or to achieve.
And what is the hardest part of that, Mark?
The relentlessness of it, and facing up to that, having to keep up with that sort of mindset of constantly trying to progress or produce, or without ever taking a break or stepping back and seeing how far you have came. It's just a constant pressure.
And what was the lowest point for you?
The lowest point was last year when I had planned to check out. That was definitely the check out of CrossFit Infected. I mean, suicide has been a big thing in our lives, and although I I would be lying if I said I didn't have the thoughts, but I know that I would never have moved in that direction. So what my plan of checking out was to sort of give up on the business that I've built and take myself and my skills elsewhere to escape this pressure that I was constantly putting on myself.
How bad did it get?
It got to the stage where getting out of bed was an issue, being able to make any decisions. I became completely paralyzed by fear that I couldn't make a decision right or wrong, even simple things. I couldn't decide, aside from the business element of your life, I couldn't decide what I wanted to do at the weekends. I couldn't decide what I wanted to eat or drink. It just got to the stage where I was completely paralyzed with any decision had to be overanalyzed to the point that I was ready to pack in all the decisions and have none, I suppose.
So can you remember the actual lowest point?
Yes, I can. It was about 5 feet from me. Thankfully, you were close by. And yeah, from that point then, obviously, things rapidly improved. But the lowest point for me was the time just before I got to the stage to be able to ask for help. Part of my makeup, or part of how I've went about my life, is I didn't ask for help in anything that I did. I like to do stuff on my own. I like to sort of achieve things on my own, and ultimately when things were going wrong, I like to work it out for myself. It got to the stage then where I realized that I couldn't do it on my own anymore.
Did you get over it?
No. Yep.
And what would you say to somebody else out there who may be now just like you were back then?
To ask for help is the number one thing that it's okay not to be okay was the one that sort of stuck with me around the tougher times, and then from that to reach out. I mean, there's a lot of things in place now that you have contact numbers and you have people that you can reach to and speak about ultimately what's going on in your head, because what I'm exploring in detail now is that is the main thing, and you can push it down in so many different ways, but it's going to eventually get too much for you, and at that stage it's okay just to reach out and talk about it.
Do you have to suffer?
No, I mean, for me, I had to suffer enough to be able to ask for help. So do you have to suffer? I felt I had to suffer to a point it had to get pretty, I'm not allowed to curse on this, but anybody who knows me knows I curse a bit, but it had to get pretty effing serious for me to ask for help. So there was a significant amount of suffering that went on, but you shouldn't have to suffer through it and something worse happen. That you need to reach out beforehand. So you don't have to suffer because there's means and places and people to speak to. As a CrossFit affiliate owner, a bit of suffering sometimes isn't the worst thing in the world.
Well, if there's a point to it, it's like, if you're building muscle and you know that the pain of the muscle is because you know you're getting stronger. Yeah. But that other kind of suffering that you and I both know a lot about, is that necessary, do you think?
No, it's not necessary.
No.
I mean, should I have reached out sooner? Yes. That would obviously make things a lot easier, a lot faster, and maybe wouldn't have got to the stage that it did.
So what would you say to the younger you?
It's definitely ask for help sooner. Just be open to asking for help and to take on board. My way was sort of just do it my way. It used to be, I used to enjoy that song when it came on, and I felt like that's the way I had to go about life. What I've learned in the sort of previous 6 months is that reaching out and asking for help makes life a lot easier. So if I could have told my younger self, it's okay not to have to do everything yourself, that you're not always right, that you can learn from other people's experiences, and there's people who are older and wiser, or younger and wiser, whatever way, whoever you bump into. But it's not like life shouldn't be this singular, it's just me and that's the way I'm going to do it. You can take information from everybody and live your life sort of progressively with that information.
Yeah, kind of like you're not alone.
Exactly.
Yeah. I always I like the idea of the CrossFit community, and it is a community, and that if you use that analogy, that we're all a community. So,
even just on that, if any of our members are watching, I mean, I've sort of documented a wee bit sort of my journey and struggle, and it's like that's one thing that we want in CrossFit Infected, is that it's okay to ask, speak to me. We have a deep history in this game of the mind, and it's become as big a passion for me now as CrossFit to sort of explore it further. So I mean, reach out to me, reach out to any of our sort of coaching staff, and they can point you in the direction of me. And it's always easier to. What I've learned is it's always easier to get it out.
Absolutely.
Than push it into your toes.
Yeah, I don't think no matter how many box jumps you do, or no matter how much weight you lift, it doesn't solve that part.
I read a brilliant quote recently in relation to that, and it was like, you can get as fit as you like, you can eat healthy, you can do all the other things, but if you're not dealing with what's going on in your head, you're not succeeding, and eventually it's going to trip you up, and that is so true. I done everything from that end right. Eating was good, training was always hard. I mean, I have a couple of businesses and stuff, and none of it was answering the questions that was, why do I feel like this constantly? So being able to get that out of you, and then from there you can progress. And the beauty of it is the nutrition, the training, the businesses haven't gone away. You still have them, but with this clearer mind to be able to do the next 150 years of my life.
So this actually enhances the businesses and the nutrition, and when you've dealt with that, it actually helps the other stuff.
And you can see all that clearer now, and you can, well, look what you have achieved even in the madness. So how much easier will it be whenever the madness is stopped?
Absolutely. So what was the gift in it, Mark?
Now just being completely at peace. I suppose if you continue to look for things that are external, you're never going to feel complete or whole. And then when you start turning internal, Anybody who knows me knows that I tend to go all in on everything that I do. If it's CrossFit, if it's getting tattooed, I would fall into the extreme sort of category. Now I'm going internal in a sort of people might describe it as extreme, but I mean I'm in some version of submerging in water every single day. I am journaling in the mornings. I'm meditating. Recently using a meditation app, and it was at the start on the app you had to set how many times you wanted to meditate in a fortnight. So I was setting up the app and I was like, right, well, 8 sessions I suppose in a fortnight, 4 times a week. And then I got a notification from the app to say I'd completed 32 sessions in the fortnight. So when I was doing the maths, I was like, well, that means a couple of days I had to meditate 3 times a day. And then I just laughed and went, well, that would be stereotypical how I like to do things. So.
But it's always going back to that source, though, that what was driving all of it. You know, even I've done meditation, but even with the meditation, if you don't go to the source, what was driving the whole bus,
none of it works until, I mean, I've been exploring this now for 6 months. All these things are amazing, but the meditation's no different than me doing the CrossFit 2 years ago, and still this problem keeps coming up. You can't really meditate until you have dealt with the trauma that's driving the whole thing, which is another 2-hour conversation on its own.
We'll do that. That'll be one for another day. So, what would you say to someone out there now who might be just like you were back then? What would you say to them now?
Just reach out, ask for help. For me, that was the thing that I was, that's what made me a man, that I was going to do everything on my own. And the day I asked for help, it was a day where I was completely broken, but from that moment forward, my life has been, like you always said to me, how much better can it get? It's getting better on a daily basis. And it's better now than it was a month ago, and it continues to get better. Like each month that passes, life gets better. I go more internal now, and I'm really exploring my mind and that side of things. But it's just important that at that stage to know that you can reach out, and there are people and there are experts. Even from the sense, I mean, my field is fitness, your field is the mind. That's somebody else is a dentist. You go to the people who are professionals at what they do. And the mind is such a new one, and particularly in Ireland, it's such an untouched one. Like, don't talk about that. Just go to the pub on Saturday night and work it out yourself. Even to an extent, we're pretty new in the fitness game here, and fitness is reasonably new. And what's growing and developing is that there's professionals in this field that teach you how to do it the right way based on theory and experience. And it's okay to talk about what's going on in your head, because ultimately it's more important than fitness, it's more important than anything else.
Well, it's the core driver, and when you look at that and change that, the rest will get so much better, and it's so exciting. I'm very passionate about that in Ireland, that we are moving forward. People like you, people like me, who are invested in the mind and body connection, and that you can't have one without the other. I mean, I love CrossFit. I come here every day, but it doesn't work if I don't deal with what I'm dealing with in my mind and my head, and that's what has become my passion. But I'm so grateful to you for what you're doing. It's cutting edge. The mindset of CrossFit and community and continuously moving forward. It's actually, the analogy of it is very similar. Everything that I do in my mind, I can use the comparison in the CrossFit gym, because you're always moving forward, you're always learning more, you're always seeing how far you can go. And when you have the right mindset for that, it's really exciting what's possible. So I could go on here for hours, but we'll have to end this. We'll do maybe another day. But
podcast coming soon, we will go on for hours.
Absolutely. So to finish up, finally, what would be your best wisdom in one sentence?
I'm trying not to butcher this now because I had it wrote down earlier, but if things ever do get too much for you, and this is one that stuck with me, and I could spend a long time thinking about this, but we're talking monkeys on an organic spaceship flying through the universe. Don't take anything too seriously. You can probably tell me who said that quote.
No, I can't.
Powerful Joe Rogan.
All right. But
I could spend, whenever, that's what, through tougher times the last few years, that's the thought of that gets me through, when you can step out and go, here, what is all this?
So in my terms, that's actually metacognition,
Yep.
that we're the only animals that can think about our thinking.
Yep.
And if you can step back and go to 30,000 feet and look down on whatever's going on,
Exactly.
that it puts perspective, it puts things into perspective for you.
Like the problem that you feel that you have, if you can zoom out on that and go, what really is going on here? It's not that big a problem.
Yeah, it's not that
I've
big.
spent long Saturday nights thinking about that quote in detail.
Can you say it again?
I'm not going to bother rewind.
Well, thanks a million, Mark. This has long been a dream of mine. I'm going to get emotional. This has long been a dream. I never thought even it would have been possible. For those of you who don't know, I am Mark's aunt, but it's so exciting what's coming, what's possible, what's coming in the horizon. And thank you very much today, Mark. And thank you for joining us today. I hope whatever you're doing today, you're having a really good one, because you know it's always, always up to you. And I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.